Breaking news tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. Enhanced distress call audio bombshell. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Over the past 48 hours, I've received hundreds, if not thousands, of comments, DMs, and even text messages saying, Trent, there's been a break in the case. Did you hear the boat phone call? Did you hear about the content creator that used AI on the CETO dispatch call to bring out the voices? We caught them. Trent, did you hear about the sound engineer that didn't use AI and use audio enhancement tools and discovered exactly what was said? We caught them. They are officially guilty. We can hear them on the boat talking about Nolan passing away. And the answer is yes, I did hear about it, but I did not want to post it until it was authenticated or shared from Benjamin Crump or Nolan's parents. As I have told y'all since my first video, July the 6th, this channel is in support of facts and receipts and Nolan's parents. And of course, attorney Benjamin Crump. If it doesn't come from them, I need to authenticate it. I spent all day yesterday reaching out to sources, connects, Benjamin Crump's law office, and I'm ready to tell y'all what I heard back about the authenticity about these phone calls. I'm going to play 3 versions of the dispatch call for you. I'm going to play the authentic one. I'm going to play the AI version, and I'm also going to play for you the enhanced engineered audio. Trust me, nobody wants these phone calls to be authenticated more than me. Y'all know I have spent every day of the past 3 weeks fighting for justice for Nolan Wells. And as we continue the fight for justice for Nolan Wells, we must protect Christine. Yesterday, while I was doing my research, it was brought to my attention that Nolan Wells' mom, Christine, has been the target of a negative wave online when it comes to her job. We're going to talk about that too. There has been a ton of developments over the past 48 hours. Sit back, relax. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. Then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section.
Why is Amazon paying me $600 a day? Because I use Amazon AI. I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about this before. I just created some simple digital products. Then I put them up on Amazon and it was so exciting. The first time I tried it, I made $14 and I was like, oh my goodness, this actually works. Hi, I'm Carla Marie, and the coolest part is Amazon puts over 300 million customers just a click away. So age, experience, qualifications, none of it matters. I want to share my full system with you, but obviously this is an ad, so I'm hosting a free workshop where I walk you through my system step by step. This system has transformed my life and it's sprinkled a little magic in the lives of hundreds of other people. Now, I hate workshops that are so slow and boring that they send you to sleep, so I made sure that this workshop moves fast and that it's fun, exciting, and informative. That said, if you love face-to-face selling, don't click on this ad. You see, with this, you never need to talk to anyone or push products on people. So this definitely isn't a good fit for someone with a salesy personality type. However, if you want to learn a low-key way to potentially make some extra money working from home that can cover some important bills and help you enjoy more fun trips, don't wait. Click anywhere around this video and watch the free workshop now. Discover how we create reliable streams of semi-passive income without complex websites, unneeded stress, or huge startup costs. You'll even get 3 valuable bonuses just for watching. We've designed these bonuses to help you succeed with this as fast as possible. I can't promise this training will be free forever, so watch it now. Could this be the stepping stone you need to start living the kind of life you've only dreamed of? There's only one way to find out. So click now, watch the training, claim your bonuses. You'll be glad you did. I'll see you on the other side.
You travel a lot for work. But that doesn't mean you should be a part-time travel agent. There must be a better... No, I'm not gonna say it. Let me just show you. This is Nolan Edge, the personal assistant for frequent business travelers. Just like you, Mark.
Who, me?
Nolan Edge learns what you love down to the smallest details and finds your perfect flight, stay, or meal. So what do you need, Mark?
Actually, I do need to book a hotel. Hello, Nolan Edge. I want a hotel that is clean and quiet, please.
Wait, no. Don't be so basic. Really get into it.
Okay. Hotel in NYC, May 3rd to 8th. Up to 5-minute walk to the office. Corner room with king, pillow top bed. Must have a desk.
Nolan Edge remembers what you love, so you don't have to say it again.
Sweet. What now?
All you have to say is...
Book it.
Wait for it. Voila! Nolan Edge also won't be offended if you want to talk to an actual human. And Nolan Edge is there even after you've booked your stay.
Find a table for 8 for the client dinner tonight. Italian works near the hotel.
If you're ready to get the edge on your next work trip, with an app that truly understands you and gets frequent travelers, then meet your new personal assistant for travel, Nolan Edge. Get the app today.
Below. Let's break down the CTO dispatch audio call. The authentic version, the one that has been authenticated, is around 8 minutes long. The audio starts recording before the operator picks up. And that is where that is the part that is going viral. I'm going to play it for you in a second. You can hear a lot of stuff going on in the background, and then the operator, Vicky, picks up and then starts talking. I'm not going to play the whole 8 minutes. I'm going to show you the parts that you need to hear, starting with before Vicky, the operator, picks up, because that is where we potentially have a break in the case. Now, very, very important to note, like I said at the top of this video, Benjamin Crump has not posted any of this, nor has Nolan's parents, nor has any sort of media that Benjamin Crump has authenticated. Okay, he has talked and he has held press conference at NAACP, etc. That's what I'm talking about. So this has been on socials and on YouTube. Okay, very important to note that. Now, I'm gonna play the CTO dispatch call, the original, that has music behind it. Listen carefully, and you'll hear some rumbling and people talking in the background. Then we'll play the AI, and then we'll play the sound engineer. Listen to the original one. Take a listen.
To connect you. CTO assistant.
Okay, just want to be clear, no AI, no enhancement on that one. Now, when that went out, some content creator went out and said, hey, we're going to take out the music. We're going to use AI. We're going to take out the music and we're going to enhance and try to figure out what they're saying. Now, I'm not saying that this content creator did anything or did not do anything. All I'm just saying is that it hasn't been authenticated. For example, like if you would use this in court, it would have to go through authentication, okay? This is the AI version of what this content creator put out there and what this content creator thinks they are saying or what their AI thinks they are saying. Listen.
To connect you. CTO assistant, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey,
Now, here is the isolated C-toe vocals from audio engineer expert Janetta Brantley without using any form of AI. You'll see her picture here beside me. I went to her Facebook. I'm going to show you her credentials. Very important to note, this is credentials on her Facebook, not authenticated by any sort of law office, not authenticated by Nolan's parents or Benjamin Crump. This is what she has on her Facebook. So when you hear people saying she's an audio engineer, she's an audio engineer because that's what she told us she is, and that's what she said on Facebook. Not discrediting her at all, just giving you the facts. Here is what she wrote on Facebook. Sorry, this is her Facebook profile. I want to show you her Facebook profile. This is what she said about her own work, which I think is very honest of her. Look what I'll read a little bit about what she wrote. I won't read the entire thing, but important to note, she said, I encourage everyone to listen with their own ears, compare it with the original recording, and come to your own conclusions. So it doesn't look like she's trying to push a narrative. It does look like she's just trying to help. But we don't know who this person is. She's just somebody on Facebook. And stay tuned. I'm going to tell you what this could mean. This could be a plant from the other side. But let me cook for 1 second, and I'll tell you why this could be bad for us. But I'm also going to play, before I go into that, I'm also going to play a video that she put out. Take a listen.
I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that C-toe call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said.
Okay, again, she said, don't let me mislead you, but this is what she thinks she hears. So watch the screen.
Hey,
Okay, so that was the beginning of the C-toe dispatch call before the operator picks up. Now, let's go back to the AI version from a content creator and go over the rest of the call. Like I said, it's 8 minutes, but I'm going to pull the parts that is important. And the parts that are important is what's going on in the background, because this is where the AI is working to say, hey, your ear itself can't hear this, but the AI is pulling it out. So I want to show you what everyone's talking about. Here is the breaks, okay? So first you're going to hear in the background, AI enhanced. Check his chest, and then Wyatt and Warren. Listen to this.
It literally feels like we've given him many extra years of life. Before the farmer's dog, we honestly thought at his age, he was declining a little bit.
I would hand feed Scooter because his bowl would just sit there. He had no interest in it whatsoever. I started to think he's playing me. He's like, yeah, let her feed me, but clearly he didn't like the kibble.
A number of months after the change, first of all, dinner time, he's excited. He eats everything. He licks the bowl clean. His energy is up. At this point, the food has given him, another lease on life. That's right, Scoot.
It's like a puppy again.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like, guaranteed. I don't have the tag on
Unless you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
Now, I'm going to play a clip that is not AI enhanced. This is actually just the plain audio. And you're going to hear something that to me is probably even more baffling than the AI and the audio enhancement, because like I said, that hasn't been authenticated. Let's talk with the facts here. You're going to hear Vicky, the operator, say, how many adults on board? And you're going to hear, if it's Warren, I think it's Warren that's talking, or if it's not, it's Wyatt. You're going to hear him take like light years to answer. He doesn't answer. He beats around the bush. Oh, there's no adults. There's this, there's that. And it's like, even the operator's like, this is not what I'm asking you. Like, how many living souls are on board? And he literally takes so long to answer. Why are you trying to avoid the question? What's wrong? Is it because Nolan was there and now he's not there and you don't want to get caught up because you know this is being recorded? Now, keep in mind, they didn't know it was being recorded before the operator picked up the call. So that's where the enhancement and the AI comes in. But he knows he's being recorded here. So that's why he's stammering, because he doesn't want to get caught up. Also, when you listen to that, there's also an AI enhancement that says, Warren, drop in the water. Again, that's the AI enhanced, but focus for a second, literally just on Warren, literally just talking and not being able to answer how many people are on board.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
Oh, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question.
Hey, Marcus. Drop in the water.
Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going. Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay,
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
All right, now let's go to another part of this 8-minute call that is highly suspicious to me. While they're there talking, okay, give me the name of the boat, this, what, the registration number, you guys don't need to hear all that. Vicky says, all right, okay, cool, I'm going to go contact the captain now so he can come out and help y'all. She puts them on hold, calls the captain, and was like, yo, captain, I have a boat in distress. They need your help. The captain is like, yeah, I was on the phone with his grandfather. His grandfather said they don't need help. What? What? Oh, I thought you just spent 6 minutes telling how your water's coming in. This is whatever about, like, was this just an alibi? And now the grandfather is like, hey, now Nolan is missing. Don't bring people out here. Like, what is going on? You need help or you don't need help, sir? Listen to this.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up
Okay.
on Horn Island, and he's saying the boat is sinking. He said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7,
Okay.
and I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that yeah, Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back.
Without the AI enhance and without the sound engineer enhancement, this is grounds enough for suspicion to me. And like I've told y'all, there's been and as y'all know, there's been a ton more suspicious stuff, but this just adds to the pile. Very, very, very important to note. I just want to reiterate, these AI enhancements and sound engineer enhancements have not been posted or confirmed by Benjamin Crump and or Nolan's parents. And this channel is out for them. What I will say is, from my research I did yesterday and calling up for people, this is what I have heard. There are some people that said that this AI and this audio enhancement has helped and they're looking into it. Some have said that it is not helping. I'm just going to leave it at that. And there are some things that I've heard that it may help and hurt. I'm just going to leave it at that. I just want to be very, very careful of what I'm saying. As soon as I have more information on that, sorry that it had to be a little ambiguous, but we just have to protect ourselves here. But just know that, it's not helping or hurting. I will say one thing though. We have to be very, very, very careful about the other side. The other side is very sophisticated. We're dealing with judges, law enforcement, medical examiners, DAs, and governors. These are people who are very, very smart. These people are very educated, and these people have access and money.
CubeSmart makes it easy to rent storage online anytime. Find and reserve your storage unit right from your
Misinformation is a very useful tool to the other side because it could be incredibly distracting to our mission of getting the truth. If you guys pay attention to something, the Officer Tatum, Officer Dingbat interviews came out when Nolan's autopsy came out the same day. They are actively trying to get us off of our game. So while I'm not saying that the audio enhancement is not right or wrong, or the AI,
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
A new audio recording from the Nolan Wells case captures the chaos on the water the day the 18-year-old disappeared off Mississippi's Horn Island. And now we're hearing the frantic distress call. The United Cajun Navy is also firing back at attorney Ben Crump over a major claim. And also there's this decision by prosecutors to keep a key piece of evidence under wraps for now that is telling a lot about where this investigation may go. I'm going to break down every new development in this story. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, we're back with a lot more that has happened since we last updated you on the case of Nolan Wells. I think the last time we updated you was when the results of that independent autopsy were released, which, by the way, came out. They couldn't rule out foul play, so it leaves Nolan's family still demanding answers. There's still, of course, the state medical examination and the toxicology reports and what will come of that. But now what do we have? We have new audio that has been released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, and it is giving us a glimpse into some of the chaos that was occurring on the water on that fateful July 4th day. One of the first pieces of audio that we're hearing from that day captures what appears to be the frantic moments as a boat that Nolan had potentially been on that day that was connected to this group began taking on water. And we've got the full call. We're going to unpack it for you. But first, just listen to this.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
So that's what I've been talking about. That is the sound of what appears to be panic as the boat was taking on water. But there is one thing that we're trying to figure out. Where was Nolan Wells? Where was Nolan Wells when that was happening? Was he on the boat? Was he already off the island? We don't know. It's one of the many gaps that we're still trying to piece together in the timeline. And what we're hearing is just one piece of this overarching puzzle. Nolan's friends are talking now. We're going to tell you what they said in these interviews. The United Cajun Navy, that was part of the search efforts for Nolan, they are firing back at attorney Ben Crump, who's representing Nolan Wells' family right now. They are disputing a key detail and making a shocking claim about what they've actually discussed, or rather, what they haven't discussed. The DA, the district attorney, is planning a move that's going to change when we'll get a look at the results of the state's autopsy. So a lot is happening. I want to get into it all, But first, let me just make sure everybody's on the same page with this if you haven't been following the case from the beginning. So we're talking about 18-year-old Nolan Wells. He was from Ocean Spring, Mississippi. He was a college student. Football player. On the 4th of July, he went with a group of friends to Horn Island. It's a barrier island off the Mississippi coast. It's really isolated. There's no like commercial developments or anything like that. Going there to celebrate. At some point, he disappeared. He was reported missing that night. A massive search was launched. And then 2 days later, on July 6th, his body was found on the island. But what happened to him? That remains the central question. That remains a question that nobody, at least publicly, can seem to answer or has answered. The results of the family's independent autopsy listed Nolan's cause and manner of death as undetermined. And remember, the family seemingly being distrustful of law enforcement or suspicious or maybe critical that the first impressions of what happened to Nolan were there were no signs of foul play, this seemed to be accidental drowning. They seemed to want more answers or a second opinion, so they hired Ben Crump. They ordered an independent autopsy. And this pathologist found that pieces of Nolan's body, we're talking portions of his neck, throat, had been removed by the state medical examiner because the state medical examiner did the first autopsy. Again, we don't have the results. So it'd been removed by the state medical examiner before this second autopsy could be done. So this second pathologist couldn't determine whether there was in fact injury or trauma to the neck. And that leaves many questions still on the table. It raises a question, if the state ME is doing further testing of those components, can the state ME definitively conclude there was trauma, that this was drowning accidental or not? Maybe it's tough to say if it's accidental or not, given those watery conditions. And then there's that red discoloration in the back of the head, which we talked about last time. According to medical experts I spoke to, it could be from decomposition. It could be a blunt injury before death, because when I spoke with Dr. Nada Rutherford, she said that the body doesn't bruise like that after death. But let's start unpacking now what we're now learning, what's new. So the Mississippi Department of Resources released a recording of a distress call made on July 4th from a boat near Horn Island, which we believe Nolan was on at some point during that day. We don't know for sure who made this call, but it does offer us a look into what was unfolding out there on the water that day, including the boat sinking, the kids panicking, and again, where is Nolan? Now, before I play this audio, just something to keep in mind. I first saw this from TMZ, Charles Laboutier, basically said that there's a conversation happening online that in this audio, in the background, you can possibly, arguably hear, is he dead? Nolan. Oh my God. Very difficult to make out. I leave it to you. Let me just play this. I don't know if it's going to be part of a conversation, but here you go.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you? And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look. 4672. Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question.
Gotta jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
The dispatcher then transfers the call to a captain.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat. And he said,
okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Oh,
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Now, as I said before, we don't exactly know where Nolan was at this point. But according to reporting from WLOX, this distress call was made around 4 p.m. And according to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and other accounts that we've heard, Nolan was apparently last seen around 3 p.m. So it places this call at just about an hour after someone would have last had eyes on him. But I want to talk about what happened since that press conference, because if you watched our previous episode, you might remember that we talked about this moment, this big detail that attorney Ben Crump shared about how Nolan was found.
The United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. There were almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something.
Major moment, because if it's connected to it, if you remember that piece of video that surfaced just days before the press conference, right? This video, which TMZ obtained and published, was recorded on July 4th at 2:23 p.m., so a little under 40 minutes before Nolan was last seen, appears to show an individual, a man. There's an argument that that could be Nolan wearing blue swim trunks and shirtless. And we remember there was a photo of Nolan Wells that had been circulated from that day wearing those trunks with his friends. So Crump was raising the question of whether anyone saw anything in between when he was without a shirt, like here, if this is him, and allegedly when he claims he was later fully clothed. Here's the problem. The problem is that the United Cajun Navy says they never told Crump he was fully clothed, and they are firing back at his initial claim. They're now coming for him. On July 26th, they wrote on X, "Did Attorney Crump lie about UCN? Yes. He said UCN told us Nolan was fully clothed. Not true. We have never spoken with Crump, and we certainly didn't tell the parents anything like that." Now, here's where it gets a little confusing, because this fully clothed claim doesn't actually originate with Ben Crump. No, the president of the United Cajun Navy, Todd Terrell, was on a July 20th episode of Crime Stories with Nancy Grace and said yes to a question about Nolan being fully clothed. But Terrell seemingly later corrected himself, saying Nolan was clothed, meaning he wasn't naked. He was wearing swim trunks, and that, yes, he should have been clearer. So the Cajun Navy mentioned that in this X post, writing, quote, "Did the UCN president get taken out of context during an interview? Yes. His definition of fully clothed meant not being naked, wearing swim trunks. It doesn't matter what anybody else thought it meant. It only matters what Todd meant because he said it. The bottom line is that Nolan was wearing only swim trunks when found. That's a fact that can't be refuted. This is a manufactured distraction to divert attention from this press conference blunder." So that's the dispute with the United Cajun Navy. But now I want to talk about the key figures in this case who are now speaking out. Nolan's purported friends. They sat down for lengthy interviews with conservative commentator Brandon Tatum on the Officer Tatum Show. What they're saying is adding even more layers to all of this. So, for example, first up, Trayston Shepard, described as one of Nolan's best friends. However, there's been some commentary that Nolan's family has maybe publicly disputed this. But here's what he spoke about with Officer Tatum. So he spoke about the moment that he learned that Nolan's body had been found, saying, quote, "I was putting fuel in our boat at 6. I got told that they were taking out another boat to Chandelier at 7. So I put my boat back on the lift and I went to McDonald's. And then I got the news after I left McDonald's that his body was found." He says he had nothing to do with Nolan's death and that he has been living with guilt ever since, saying, quote, "I beat myself up every night I lay down, beat myself up anytime it crosses my mind, because in my head, if I wasn't drinking, if I didn't get into that altercation," apparently there was an altercation that day, not involving Nolan, but involving him, "maybe I would be able to do something. Maybe I would have told Nolan, hey man, you're not going with that girl, just come back with us. Maybe it just plays out different." So yes, he's talking about this altercation that he says happened on the island, this apparent fight with a stranger that got so intense that he claims his uncle made him get back on the boat and leave. And regarding the girl comment, that's interesting because this is what he says was the last thing he told Nolan that day. Quote, "All right, buddy, I love you. See you later. I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit.
At the University of California, Irvine, Paul Merage School of Business, we are committed to ensuring that working professionals have access to a world.
Oh no, Dawn is on time. Well, we're 3-4 minutes late, but here we are. As my mom would say, or my grandma, it's just us chickens. So welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Welcome to Lemon Live at 5. And pretty much on time today. On brand. We're on brand. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a very big show. And hit the like and the thumbs up. It affects the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation and our channel. With that said, boy, oh boy, oh boy, we have a story that we want to talk to you about that we're working on. I'm just going to just a little bit tell you. Y'all have seen that, and I shouldn't be talking about this, the bonnet story. Should you be wearing bonnets to class and do-rags? Woo! Sparked a little debate here on the show. So we'll be talking about that. I don't know if we'll talk about it today, but let me know what you think in the comments if you guys want to talk about it. But if you want to have a discussion, welcome to the show. I want to talk about this new audio that is out there from, there's an audio person who has enhanced this audio, and everyone is up in a stir about it. And so we want to see, her name is Janetta Brantley, and she isolated the video. She's explaining how she isolated it, and then we're going to bring in some folks to discuss it. Our very own correspondent, Daniel Grimes, and then we're going to bring in Charles Lataboudiere from TMZ to talk about it, okay? So here she is in her own words explaining it, and then you're going to hear the audio.
Okay, so before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that C-toe call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the C-toe dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. And you can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film, that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play. Read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
We finally get to see him today, right?
That's right, honey. We're going to the city where he works to surprise him.
Yay! Dad's over there.
Okay. So there you have it. Let's put up the transcription, Andy. Daniel Grimes is our Washington, D.C. correspondent. I want to bring him in to discuss this, and then we'll bring Charles in a moment. This is sparking outrage and conspiracy theories, and it's explosive new audio and this whole story.
I mean, Don, this clip, I saw that you posted this clip on social. That was my, first introduction to this new part, which was right before the young man started speaking. And what I was able to hear, I chose to just listen before I read the transcript. We talked about this as a team. There's something called confirmation bias. So if you read through that transcript and then listened, you would try to look for the words that were there. And so I just listened myself before reading the transcript. And what I heard was, is he dead? I heard Nolan. And that to me appears to be damning evidence of the friends potentially doing something and being involved. Now, having said that, I am going to also say, listen, again, this was cleaned up audio. We don't really know because TMZ, they're going to come on here in a second, and I know he's going to repeat what I'm just about to say, is that people said that they saw Nolan on the island after his friends had left. And if that is true, again, we don't know if that's true. If that's true, that would refute everything that this audio says, because again, his friends left. So he's allegedly seen alive by people hours later. Then what we're hearing in the audio isn't what we actually think we're hearing. But if what I heard, which is Nolan and is he dead, and people didn't actually see him later, then I think this would be damning evidence.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Every time we get something, I think it makes there are more questions than answers about this. But however, I'm really bad at these things. I have really good hearing, but I'm like because I'm hearing everything. Now, she didn't necessarily say that she enhanced it. She said she tried to use as few of enhancing methods as she could. Basically, she just separated the tracks. Andy, you're a technical director. Tell us what she did. Yeah.
Well, I think she did more than just separating the tracks, because she talked about how she's a dialogue audio expert and used different techniques to, isolate people's individual voices. So I think there is more to it than like what I did, which is just separate the left channel from the right channel, which was dispatch audio versus the phone call. Yeah.
I mixed up with your thing and what she did. Okay, go on. Sorry. Andy.
Oh. Yeah, so
so she used
that's about all I
enhanced
have to
mechanisms.
say. Yeah.
Okay. And then you separated the tracks yourself.
Yes, so I could play a version of the audio that I just downloaded from the WLOX YouTube page, and I just turned down the left channel, and the right channel is just the friend's phone call.
Okay. And it is
anyone
it's
can
the
do that at
same
home.
Call. Anyone can do that at home. And it's the same call.
Yes, minus her,
minus her
techniques.
And what people let's listen to yours and see what people hear.
All right, so I'm going to start it with both tracks, and then I'll restart it with just the friend's phone call.
Connect you.
This on hold music is sending me.
I know. Okay, so now I'll redo it minus the left channel, and we'll just hear the friends.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and
Yeah, I can hear it without the transcript. I can hear it. I'm just listening to it, and I didn't know where the "is he dead" or any of that stuff is coming from. But yeah, I mean, you guys heard that, right? Is he dead?
Yeah.
But who knows what they're talking about?
Well, and again,
Nolan.
At this point, they are calling because their boat is getting water. You know, it's sinking, and so. Yeah, I mean, I will say I heard "Is he dead?" and I did hear later someone else scream Nolan. So, like I said, I think that if the accounts that TMZ is going to get on here and talk about in a second, because they're the ones that had the anonymous people speak to them, who said that they saw Nolan, I believe, 6 p.m., definitely hours after this audio was released. If those accounts are true, then all of our ears are deceiving us, and Nolan was still alive after his friends left. Now, again, they're anonymous sources. We don't even know. Like TMZ is going to be able to speak to those better than I can. But if they're not true, then that's damning evidence. I mean, that's clearly involved.
Let's listen to the friend describing the boat taking on water, where they left. And now he knew, this is like, he said the boat was taking on water. I'll tell you my explanation, but let's just listen to him. I'll tell you mine.
This brilliant pillow keeps your airways open even if you've struggled with sleep apnea for years.
You guys just left Nolan behind. I've seen reports of people saying that you just left him. I see reports of people saying that you asked him to get on the boat. You told him to get on the boat. He didn't. What's the truth in that?
Well, Wyatt was having boat issues and the bilge wouldn't pump. So the bilge is basically a pump that releases water from your boat when water comes in. So I opened the back hatch and there's water up to the batteries. And that is obviously not good. There's water almost coming over the transom, which is where your motors sit and which is the, by the stern, like in the back part of the boat. So obviously we were in emergency. The boat, we're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't ask Nolan or we just left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with. And the girl is a witness to that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is that the girl is saying no, but there are new folks who are saying, yes, he was there later. You had this new audio. And then the thing, look, I have my theory, but let's talk to Charles first before. Daniel, stand by. We're going to talk to Charles Lataboudier from TMZ. Charles, thank you for joining. You guys you spoke to the people, some folks who were saying that they saw him there after that. And then, of course, you guys also had the audio. First of all, what do you think of this audio? Are you hearing what she has here?
I listened to this audio probably 25 times this morning. I listened to it without earbuds. I did it with earbuds. I cranked up the speakers on my desk and slowed it down every which way. There are very few things that are very clear on it. To me, what's clear, someone yells, shut the bleep up. It's also very clear when someone says, "Oh my God." The two critical parts, or there were three critical parts. Is he dead? And the actual someone actually saying Nolan, and then the other part being when someone says something about his chest, about checking his chest. Those three things were not nearly as clear to me. They just never were clear. And I think what's happening is that people are having confirmation bias. That if you just listen to it without any words on a screen, without any captions, there's something said, but I don't think any of it, those critical parts, are clear. Now, when you listen to it with and watch it with a caption, yes, well then now your brain is hearing what you're reading. I just don't know that it's clear there. Now, the bigger thing is that call was made after they left the island. Wyatt and Warren and company, there were 5 other people on the boat, according to what Wyatt said to the tow company, a total of 7. That call was made after they had left Horn Island. We know they left Horn Island at 4:30. We know that from GPS data. So that if they're talking about Nolan and about Nolan being dead and checking his chest, if it were true, that means that Nolan was on the boat when they left Horn Island. We've spoken to people with direct knowledge of the investigation. These are not friends that we're talking about, but people with direct knowledge of the investigation who say that the sheriff's department has evidence, don't know if it's video or photo, and that they've also spoken to witnesses who can place Nolan on the island, on Horn Island, after 4:30. So I just don't know how both of those things can be true. If he's still on the island after 4:30, how is he on the boat and they're talking about him being injured or dead on the boat? They just don't add up.
So let me give you a scenario because listening to it, they said we were at I forget what he says, a tip or something of.
He's on the west tip of Horn Island.
West tip of Horn Island. And the guy on the beach is saying they were having boat trouble. So I think they had boat trouble before they left the beach. Like they realized the bilge wasn't working.
Right.
And so I think that they were there. They said they were in 17 feet of water. So 17 feet of water, I'm not sure exactly there. So that's getting away from the beach a little bit. So maybe I'm thinking that they weren't that far away from the beach. And that's when they were yelling at him, not necessarily that he was in the boat, but maybe they left him there and he's like, "Hey guys, wait for me," and then went in and then something happened. But it doesn't mean that he wasn't. They could be near the beach looking at him, alive or dead.
You can't tell.
Yeah, you can't tell from that. So I don't know, but Charles, I heard, "Is he dead?" without even the transcript. I heard that, and then there was another thing that I heard. There was one other thing without the transcript that I heard as well.
Nolan?
No, Nolan wasn't so clear to me, I believe. But Charles, can we listen to it with you? Can you listen?
Yeah, please. I'd love to. Yeah.
Close your eyes and then let's everybody listen. All right.
Hey, we're at the west tip of
So
Horn.
I heard, can you cover it up? Is he dead? Now, I don't know if they're saying Nolan or whatever. I did hear that. I mean, and I don't know if that's confirmation.
Yeah.
What did you guys hear? Let me know. And look, Charles, let me just make this clear. We're speculating here. We're listening. And my question for you is, has this been authenticated or corroborated in any way by any official?
They don't want you to know how toxic this is. If you're buying produce from the grocery store, you need to see this.
We have not heard that from the sheriff's department. But to be honest, also the sheriff's department isn't saying a lot about the investigation, that they seem to be very tight-lipped at this point. And I think that's because and maybe it's already convened, but that they're expected to convene a grand jury to conduct further investigation into this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It has not been confirmed by anyone. You have Everybody is listening to it though and forming their own opinions, and so that's what's sort of that's.
Judge Mathis, happy to have you back, my man.
Thanks. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, indeed. Had to bring you back on, man. There's so much going on with this Nolan Wells case. I'm still catching up with the details. So, I wanted to bring you back on and get your take on it. For the people that may not be familiar with the case, can you break it down?
Yeah, certainly. Nolan, a black man, went on a boat ride to a pretty much resort island, not necessarily, just a fun island off the coast of Mississippi. And 4 of them left and went and had fun, and only 3 returned. They then found Nolan dead. His 3 friends that he had come with in the boat had gone and left in the boat and claimed that Nolan stayed behind by himself. And additionally, however, and this is where the first question comes in with me, they say he left his cell phone. They have his cell phone, they had it in their possession. Okay, so if your buddy says to you, I'm leaving, you all go back. I'm staying by myself. No friends, just me wandering around. And then you see that he had left his cell phone. So you see, so you say, in the boat. And instead of taking it back to a friend who's on the island by himself, and by the way, did you ask him how he was getting home? So instead of going back, you couldn't be that far off because the phone right in the boat. Say an hour or 2. If you're a real friend, you'll drive back on that recreational hour or 2 on the boat having fun to give your man his phone. Because if he's out there by himself, no question about it, 90% white in the state of Mississippi that has a history of demonizing and black men and killing them in the civil rights era. Most of the civil rights killings occurred in Mississippi, including Medgar Evers, including our dear young brother from Mississippi who was killed, and several others. And so we know that Mississippi has a history of demonizing and marginalizing black men. And so the question became, what is the investigation going to be? Well, the police immediately accepted the version of the 3 young men that returned. Now, here you are, you're supposed to be the police. And I just deduced it. And I deduced it not just now, but I had deduced it immediately after seeing it in the media. And I'm not an investigator, I'm a lawyer and a judge, but an investigator, that is a police investigator / detective, has investigative techniques that would have immediately thrown into question what occurred. And common sense throws into question what occurred. And that's where we're at now. And there's some actions being taken by Ben Crump. I've spoken with him and he's on top of it. And the family has the questions raised. Again, why would he leave his cell phone? Because it had to be voluntary. And then voluntarily stay on an island by himself without telling them why. A lot of questions there, a lot of holes in it, and that's what that grand jury is going to look into. That's the good news.
Yeah, that definitely don't make no sense. So why would he give his phone to his friend? And I heard that his mom, she had to find out by using an app that his friend had his phone after it was reported that he was missing.
Very suspicious, correct. And then there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of unanswered questions. There's allegedly an altercation that took place, and I think they say there may be some footage of it. Some have been AI generated, various things, so we don't really know what's true or not. But I think they have eyewitnesses, and that's where the investigation should go. Were there eyewitnesses that saw any type of altercation? Is there video? There's cameras everywhere. You can't do anything without being caught on camera, believe me. And so to that extent, there's some footage out there that shows this altercation, if indeed it occurred. And so the grand jury, they are impaneled when there's a reasonable suspicion that something may have occurred. So that's good news. There's a reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed. When you go to the grand jury, the prosecutor presents all the evidence that they have to explain to the grand jury the case they're looking into. And 90% of the time, over 90% of the time, the prosecutor comes back with an indictment because grand juries only hear one side. So they're only going to hear the side of the prosecutor. So the question becomes, is the prosecutor going to do a thorough investigation and presentation to the grand jury? Because if they miss some parts of the evidence that is necessary, then the grand jury has nothing to consider. But if, as it has been in most cases, it goes where the grand jury charge has been made, it's going to go to an indictment. And then all evidence will be seen on all sides. What I don't like about grand juries is if the defense don't get a chance to present their case to the grand jury. It's only the prosecutor. Prosecutor says, we have this, that, and the other evidence, begins talking, brings people in to interview them during the grand jury process, and then they determine whether there's probable cause to believe that a crime was committed. Probable cause means more likely than not. Reasonable suspicion means there may have been a crime, and so we have to look into it. Probable cause means we believe there was a crime, more likely than not. So that's where we're at with it.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Nolan's mom, she said that his phone was scrubbed, right?
Yes, the mother said that some of the things on his phone had been removed. And I don't know what evidence they have of that, but she's not saying anything to jeopardize the truth in this case. And so everything she says, I'm going to take her at her word. She has no reason to trump up anything. She wants to get to the bottom of this and who killed her son. I don't believe he drowned. I believe he was killed. But I'm a judge that has to weigh all the evidence. Preliminarily, that's what I see. You don't leave your friend on an island.
All right, guys, we're going to end today's stream. We are going to end today's stream, so I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream, and we're going to end it. Bye.